Big Texas. Welcome to the Lone Star State. Entering Texas, we are immediately greeted by the Welcome to Texas signage and a welcome center where you can find this giant Texas silhouette on display. Because one thing that Texans love most about Texas is telling you that they are from Texas. Now, looking at the demographics for this channel, I know you guys love this Texas talk, as it makes up the largest percentage of viewers here. Owing to the massive size of this state, you'll see exits in the 600s, which is far greater than anything we've seen so far on this interstate. Dallas is the control city, but we'll pass by a few decent sized towns along the way. Marshall and Longview are to the north, while we pass Tyler to the south. All three either have full or partial loop highways, as Texas is on a mission to give every decent sized town its own loop highway. Also near Tyler is Texas 49, a 2-lane toll highway known for its high rate of crashes. Use with caution. In Terrell, there is a large Buc-ee's gas station with over 100 pumps for you to fill up on. And something interesting of note is that an exit to US 80 is signed for Dallas, while I-20 is now signed for Fort Worth. Now, I-20 does still indeed enter Dallas, but if you want to get into the heart of Dallas, then this is your exit, as I-20 now bypasses the core of the city to the south. You'll know you're closing in on Dallas as the road widens to 6 lanes and frontage roads start to appear. You'll see signage for I-635. No control city is posted here, but I have one for you. Construction. That's what you'll be seeing if you head up that way. I-635 along with I-20 forms a partial beltway around Dallas. I-20 opens up to 8 lanes out here and is one of the less congested freeways in the Dallas area, since the lion's share of the metro population is on the northern side of the metro. At I-45, we have a nice stack, and you can use it to get into downtown Dallas or head south for Houston. Around the interchange with I-35 East is where we tend to see the traffic pick up on I-20. Since I-20 is usually on the mid-level in these stacks, you don't get the views here that you will see if you pass through the area along I-35 or I-45. The first one with a good vantage point from I-20 is with US 67, signed for Dallas and Cleburne. Now, Cleburne, that was the same name of the county in Alabama, so this Cleburne fellow must have been quite important in these parts. In the mid-cities area, we don't cross any other interstates, but there are definitely more freeways. There's the George Bush Turnpike in Grand Prairie, and Texas 360 in Arlington, the latter of which can also be used to reach the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. Random spots of congestion can occur in this area, perhaps from people slowing down to check out the Texas landscape. Just before entering Fort Worth, we pick up US 287, signed for Waxahachie to the south, and it quickly departs to the north for downtown Fort Worth, as I-20 will also bypass the core of that city to the south. Interstate 820 is also present here, which forms a part of a loop around Fort Worth. This area between 287 and Forest Hill is one of the more busy sections, and trucks are banned from the left lane through here. And at I-35W, we finally get a modern stack interchange that handles the demands of this modern metropolis. West of I-35 West, we'll start seeing signs for Abilene, the next control city for I-20. Southwest Boulevard marks the end of the long 8-lane stretch for I-20, and we are now down to 6. The interchange with the Chisholm Trail Parkway is probably the highest stack for I-20 in the Metroplex. When I-820 comes back around, the 3rd lane exits onto that highway, and we are surprisingly down to 4 as we exit Fort Worth. As we approach I-30, the left lane merges into that roadway while the right lane becomes exit only. Though I-20 is terminating I-30, I-30 is the main roadway here, of which I-20 merges into. Don't get too happy about the 6 lanes. They're temporary as we quickly go back to 4 around Weatherford. Weatherford is your last stop for decent amenities for a while, as west of Fort Worth, I-20 is a good route for understanding the vastness of Texas's size. After all, we're only at exit 408 out here. In Abilene, I-20 passes north of the city to help form a full loop around the city. There's also an I-20 business route that runs directly through downtown. Quick trip, Flying J's, pick your poison because it's over 100 miles for the next major city. But you do get a few spots along the way. We've got Sweetwater. We got a city named Colorado City. That's outside of Colorado. And after you've gotten your fill of Sweetwater, you end up with a big spring. I-27 is supposed to eventually come somewhere out here also. And finally, after an exhausting journey, we reach the Midland and Odessa area, an oil oasis in the middle of nowhere. Surprisingly, Midland has a pretty tall building downtown. Various petroleum-related industries line the interstate through here. And this is your last area of civilization along I-20, but it's also the last area where you might encounter congestion. Texas has given both of these cities their very own loop roads. How kind of them. As we exit Odessa, the mile marker says 113 miles. But don't let this fool you. This is just the mileage to the end of I-20, but not to the next sign of civilization, which is El Paso. In rural West Texas, the speed limit is up to 80, and it gets very lonely out here. But you'll rarely see state troopers, so most drivers are just driving at the speed they feel like it. But you didn't hear that from me. This part of Texas almost feels like a different state from the rest of the Texas that we've seen so far. You'll have plenty of time to get acquainted with nature out here, and surprisingly much of the route has frontage roads along the freeway. Now, if you manage to stay awake, then at some point you will finally see I-10 appear overhead. Your choices are for San Antonio or El Paso. Now, El Paso is almost 3 hours away, and that's the closer of the two. Man, Texas is huge. But either way, I-20 ends here, and I-10 hold the mantle to carry westbound traffic out of Texas toward the West Coast. And that is the end of Interstate 20.